This blue is very blue, so let me just lower the intensity of this blue. Put it there. Ooh, yes, that creates a nice ambiance. So about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I actually am not completely sure on the timing. Anyways, not too long ago, in the group chat, my friends and I were like, hey, the con's coming up, why don't we do a casual arcane group? And I was like, totally, yeah, I've been thinking about cosplaying Viktor anyways, so like, let's go. Slight problem with that is the con is in 2 weeks now, and I have done nothing. So again, it's gonna be like, I'm not doing like full canon, but I want it to be very readable as like, this is Viktor from the Arcane. So I'm gonna make a white vest. I have a burgundy shirt that I'm probably going to use, and he just wears like kind of black pants, and I have some black slacks. So I'll have to find those. Mostly this video is probably gonna end up being like how I styled the wig, and I made a vest. And that's probably going to be it. I'm not sure what fabric I'm using for the vest. I haven't made a pattern for it yet. And the last time I made a vest was several years ago, so. Without further ado, I don't feel like talking anymore, but I really wanted to show off this cute makeup. I'm actually going to be starting the project tomorrow, so this makeup will be washed off at this point, but I wanted to not waste this cute makeup. So let's go style some wig. I went through my stash and I found 2 different wigs that I have. Both of them are old Dazai wigs that I have because I have had 3. So I put them on my wig form to see which one had the best amount of layering, and then here I'm checking to see how the hair looks when you pull it up, because Viktor's hair kind of like pulls up at the back. And so I wanted to make sure that whichever wig I used had a lot of wefts at the back, so that way my actual hair wouldn't peek through as much, and this one the wefts were closer together and there was more of them, and it also had longer hair on the sides and the back, so I would have to do less cutting. What I do with every single wig that I style first is I make a Pinterest board with as many different angles of the hair that I can get, and then I stare at it for an extremely long period of time and try to figure out how I'm going to translate that to the wig. So I first started out by brushing out the original style that was in this wig. It wasn't styled very much, but I have teased it in the past, and here is a full 360 of what we're starting with so that we can have an idea about, you know, what we're gonna end with. It has a lot of hair on the sides, which is kind of nice, where it's shorter in the back, so there's gonna be less that I'm gonna have to actually do with it. So I'll actually put in the description below where I got this wig, so that way you can buy it if you want. It's from AliExpress, it was not very expensive. Another tool that I forgot to mention in the beginning is a heat styling tool that you're going to need. I have a heat gun and I'm using it on a low setting. You can use a steamer if you have one, but unfortunately this is all that I have, so I heated the hair backwards and then combed it backwards from the sides and the top, so that way all of the hair was going the same direction. And then I also kind of put a side part into the wig, and I'm just using a small toothed comb to really like brush it all out and get it nice and smooth as I can. I have, again, teased this hair in the past, so you might want to tease your wig first or crimp it. I also don't own a crimper, so there's that. I then went through also with a brush just to kind of brush everything out and get everything as flat as possible, because this, again, is a used wig that I've had for years, so I'm having to put a little extra work into it than you might have to if you're buying it brand new. Next comes what is to me the most stressful part, is cutting the wig, because you cannot grow any hair back on a wig. Once you cut it, that's it, it's done. Never do a blunt cut, always cut at an angle, or do a feathered cut like I'm doing here, or cut up towards the wig fibers, like hold it in your hands and then cut it up towards it. Then I'm going to take my flat iron, that's not a flat iron, Anyways, I'm taking that tool right there that you can see, and I'm going to just kind of curl the ends of the fibers of the back of the wig, and then I'm going to cool it off by just blowing on it, because a wig sets a style when it is cold. Like you heat it and then you set that style by cooling it down, unlike human hair where it sets kind of when you heat it. The wigs set when you cool it. I then do that for the entire back of the wig, but I will let you know that I do eventually brush out some of the styling because I wasn't happy with it, and I do end up shortening the wig a bit more. I'm using some hairspray to currently set it in place, but I didn't like how like stringy everything looked, so I do end up redoing this. I haven't done a proper wig styling in so long. It takes me a long time to like figure out exactly how I want to style a wig, and there's so many little pieces and it's just stressing me out. And I've only been at it for 20 minutes. So I started heat styling some spikes kind of into the side of the wig, and this is kind of the point where I realized that the hairspray was kind of like really making the wig hard, and also the wig was too long and it was starting to look a little too much like a Dragon Ball wig and not like the wig I was trying to go for. So I ended up doing this little spike at the top, really liking it, combing out everything else that I had been doing right there, and then I went back and curled the back a little bit more, and then I cut a lot more off of the sides because his hair has like a lot of layers, but it's also like not quite so long as the wig that I have. So I did cut off probably about an extra like inch and a half, and then I shook it upside down and heated it a bunch, and then kind of moved my fingers through everything so that way I could really section out each individual piece. And I went back and I just like curled a lot of the ends, and it was a lot of going over each little part and fiddling with it a whole bunch until I got it exactly how I wanted. It's not bad. I could do better, but this is as good as it was gonna get right now. And then as a final touch up to the wig, I went through with my scissors and I cut away a lot of the like really small flyaways and kind of shortened all of the little spikes so that way they look a little bit more natural and not so jagged. And that was kind of the last little touch-ups that I did to the wig. Now enjoy this little 360 of the completed styling of the wig. For just a like casual cosplay, I think this is gonna do. It's not perfect, and it's not one of those like super intense, like every single hair is specifically where it needs to be to look like I walked out of the screen, because that's not what I'm going for. And so it's okay if the wig doesn't look exactly like, you know, Viktor's hair in the show. It looks close enough. Like I've got some sideburns going on, I've got his little bangs, I got a little hoop up here. I curled a bunch of it. So yeah. Let's go make a vest now. Using the reference images that I gathered, I came up with this little sketch of what I was working with. I grabbed some materials that I had from other projects, and we're gonna get working. I'm going to start out by lifting the pattern from this vest that I have. This is the vest that I have from my Chuya Nakahara cosplay from Bungo Stray Dogs. I have altered that vest in the past, so lifting the pattern from it is going to be an interesting experience. Basically, I just put the vest down onto some scrap fabric. I drew around the shape of it because it's pretty flat, and just copied that shape down because I like the shape and the fit of this vest, and that is what I'm going for. So you kind of just have to manipulate the fabric, lay it out so that way you can get all of the lines in place. And this is how I do a lot of the patterning for things when I'm not just draping things on my dress form. And actually for a lot of like male presenting cosplays, because my dress form has a chest, this is a lot easier. I lifted the pattern from both the front and the back so that way everything would match up. There are darts in the back of this vest that I added, and I just didn't add that to my finished design of this, I just kept it as a flat piece and it ended up turning out really nicely. If you don't want to make an entire vest and you just want to go a little easier, you can just buy a white vest and add the gray parts, as a friend of mine just recently did, and I will add their information down below if you would like to see that for yourself. Then I put all of my pattern pieces onto my dress form so that way I could draw out where I wanted the extra things to be and also to check the fit and everything like that to make sure everything fit nicely. You can do this just flat. I just decided to do it on my dress form because it's a little easier for me. I think this is what we're going with. I don't know if you can even see the lines on it because the sun, for once, is actually coming out. That's what it feels like being in Canada in the winter. I'm gonna go take this off. And the back, I'm not going to change anything except for how there's going to be like 2 different things here. I hate this. I don't know if I'm going to end up doing this line or not. I may just make it 1 piece of fabric. Or like 1 thing instead of 2, because like joining seams like this suck ass. So, because it's like curved, right? And I also think it's hard to tell if this is like joined onto it or if it's like an extra flap that's on top. It's hard to tell. So I might not do it. He also, in one scene, you can see that there's like, he has like a strip right in the middle here of gray. So I may do that too. And then I've got like the strip of gray that's in the front here. And then I changed the line for this. Let me keep these. So yeah, let's go make a vest. So here is what my completed patterns ended up looking like. I really actually am kind of proud of them. They look pretty good. I did end up cutting out a lining for this, but I didn't end up inserting the lining, and you'll find out why later. So I'm gonna sew everything together. I may not take you along for that actually. The next shot of me may actually just be it done. Okay, so I didn't actually go and film any of the actual sewing that I did on this, but I am just going to tell you how I assembled the vest. So the first thing I did was I sewed this back seam about 5 to 6 inches from the bottom and just sewed down the back. Then I did the side seams, and then I did the shoulder seams. Now I'm going to tell you something very important when you're sewing your seams. You always want to go from the inside out. So you start at the top here and you sew down. You start at the inside here and you sew out. You start at the top and you go down. That is always how you, like, that is the order of assembly. Technically the order of assembly is shoulders, side, and then back, and I did it opposite. But you always want to make sure that you start at the top and sew down, because it's a lot easier to fix anything that might slip in sewing at the hem. And then also, if I had sewn from this way up and then this way down, that shifts the fabric ever so slightly going in one way or the other. So if you are always sewing everything in the same direction, the fabric is all flowing the same direction, and it's gonna really, really improve like fit and things like that. Also, I'm not sure if I explained it before, but the reason why the seam back here is not a straight seam is because if you can see on the dress form, it bows out here, dips in at the waist, and then comes back out. So if you put a straight line here, it's going to gap right here, and then it's going to be slightly too tight along the waistline. So the reason why you want to have like a slight S bend in the back seam is because your spine has a slight S bend. You are not like rod straight. You have a bit of an S in your back. So that is going to create a really nice fit back here. So that's how I have, like on the side here, you can see there's no weird gapping. Also, for the seam here, you want to make sure that when you cut it, it's straight to the side, because then once you have a booty in here, then it's going to open up nicely. But if you start out by creating a triangle in here, then when it opens up, it's going to open up like way too far, because you just want this to like gently flow over your backside. So both of these and this, I cut out 2 of each side, and then I sewed along the inside, folded that out, and then top stitched it. And then I also like sewed it to the side here, ironed everything flat, and then top stitched it. So then what I did was I folded all of the edges over, and then I just top stitched it. So that way there's now a hem. I will eventually go back in and hand sew a lining into this, but I'm just not doing that right now. These little guys are studs that I bought on Amazon a couple years ago for a costume. So I just had those on hand, and then I went with a zipper here to close it. It's not a separating zipper, so I just have to pull this over my head. I'm gonna go make a tie. I don't know how to make a tie, so I'm probably just going to make a long rectangle that I'm then going to sew in half and create like a little tube essentially, and then I'm probably just gonna like tie it around the back, or tie it in the front in the exact way it needs to be, and then have it snap or Velcro at the back underneath of the collar. This shirt I bought at the thrift store for I believe $5. It is a full cotton, just a button-up dress shirt. I have a pair of gray slacks in my closet, and that's what I'm gonna wear. I'm gonna make the tie, and then I'm gonna do a makeup test, and I'll see you. I'm going to try to do my best to explain to you how I did the makeup, but this was my very first time trying out this style of makeup, so we're gonna do our best. The very first thing you are going to want to start out with is a clean base. Always clean your face before you put on makeup. I'm using like this special stuff I got in Korea like a year and a half ago. So yeah. There's a lot of dancing in this. I was listening to music while doing this, so just like, you know, take what I'm doing with a grain of salt. I know it looks like I'm being possessed, but like, don't worry about it. I'm just making sure that my face is clean. Then I put on some hyaluronic acid stuff. It preps the skin for moisturizer, and then I put on moisturizer. Can you tell that after every time I touch something, I have to wipe my hands off? It's the I hate touching, having sticky stuff on my hands. I like to think it's the autism. Anyways, then I put on a primer, so that way the makeup would have something to stick to, even though I wasn't going to be in it for very long, but I wanted to make sure that it like evens out any of the like open pores or anything in my face, and it just gives like the makeup a really even base to work with. And then I start with applying foundation. I heat it up on my hand first, and I put on some concealer for the little bits of pimplage that I got going on. And I heat up the concealer on my hand first, that way it blends out really nicely onto my skin. Because if you have just like cold concealer on your face, it's gonna heat up on your face, and it's not gonna like smooth out across your face as well. Man, explaining my like makeup process is just stressing me out. I'm sorry. I do continue the foundation and everything down my neck, so that way I have just like an even skin tone all the way throughout, because that's important to not have like your face a different shade than your neck. I go on and I like really get everything nice and like smooth. I then put on a powder foundation because I feel like it gives a really nice like airbrushed effect. And then I go and stare at reference images excessively because I have a Pinterest board dedicated specifically to this. Then I go and carve out my face. Learning where to put your foundation, like your contour, so that way you can properly carve out your face, is a trial and error. I really hope that this helps just watching what I'm doing, but basically I have a reference image of his face that I keep staring at, and I go through and I just put contour in the places where I need to hollow out or change my face shape. And it actually ends up looking really good in the end, if I do say so myself. It's just a lot of trial and error. You have to, he has some thick eyebrows, so like I really followed my eyebrow shape. I should have hollowed out my eyes a little bit more. I went a little too light with my eyes in this. I probably should have made my eyes a little bit more deep set, a little more sickly, but alas, it is what it is. we live and we learn. I did only half of my face at first, so that way I could see the difference kind of more clearly in like how the shape was changing my face. I think for like makeup looks that I'm just starting out, or it's like my first time doing it, I tend to do just half of my face, so that way I know what to do for the other side. And if I don't like it, I am only washing off one half of my face. After going in and putting in all of my contour, I then went in and put in his freckles, and then I go and add some more like lighter shades to bring out the parts that you need to. So your darker shades is to inset things, and your lighter shades is like to, you know, bring things out. I'm really bad at explaining how to do makeup. I'm so sorry. I just kind of do it. And it happens, and that's about it. I do have like a little bit of eyeliner that I put on, and I did eyeliner on my waterline, and I did put a little bit of mascara because I wanted to be like a little pretty, you know. Yeah, so I'm just gonna like look at what I'm doing, I guess. Oh yeah, I put concealer on my lips so that way, because he has like a really like soft skin color top lip, and then bottom lip, and then his top lip is a little darker, and then I used a lip stain to outline the shape of my lips, and then to give myself like a downturned lip, because I have like lips that upturn into like a smile, and his is downturned, so I had to like change the shape of my lip. Yeah, so now I'm gonna do the other side of my face, and you can be left with the music and not have to listen to me yabbering. And with the makeup completed, let's go to the reveal. Okay, so final thoughts. The wig looks nice on the wig head. It's a little wide for me, but I think that's also just the way that his hair is. I could clean up the little wisps a little bit more, but I've always gone for less of an extreme accuracy one-to-one and more of what it might look like in real life, and I feel like this messier is kind of how it is. For the makeup, I like the makeup. I might try and define the eye a little bit more because it's a little muddy and I want it to be a little more extreme. I think one of the things that's just getting me with the makeup is I look so incredibly boy right now, and I haven't done extreme like changing the shape of my face kind of makeup in a while, and so I think that's just kind of like throwing me for a loop. This tie is literally just a tube of fabric that I then tied into a tie shape and then put here. So it's working out really well for being literally just a tube of fabric. The vest, I really like it. The fit could be a little tighter, but I think there's not a lot I can do with the fact that I am in possession of a rack of lamb. No, just titty. There's nothing I can do about that. So I'm unfortunately faced with like a weird kind of like, you can see it from the side. I've got like that weird gym bro. I've got gym bro boobs going on right now. So there's nothing you can really do about that. That's not a fit issue on my part. I like the shirt. The shirt fits perfectly, other than kind of being a little long on the arms, but that's just because I have really long arms. The outfit has come together quite nicely. I don't know what shoes I'm wearing to the con. Probably like some heels, so that way I'm taller. Because I'm not as tall as him in real life, shockingly. I am 5'4". So that's my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. And if you stuck around this long, pat yourself on the back. Pat yourself on the back. Most people make it about 4 to 5 minutes into my videos. So don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment telling me I'm a weirdo. I don't know. I really hate telling people to like and subscribe, and I know that I have to because, you know, if I want to grow at all in this way, you kind of have to like do that. But also I really hate that. I really hate being like, you need to like and subscribe. You don't have to do anything. You can do whatever you want. If you happen to leave a little like, that would be so nice. If you gave a little like, it tells the YouTube algorithm gods that, you know, my video was fire and it needs to show it to more people. So like, if you did that, you're awesome, you're lovely, I appreciate you. If you don't, that's okay too. You watched to this point and I appreciate that. Goodbye. I need you all to know that like calculating height-wise, where you are is eye height with how Jace would see Viktor, so like he's looking down at this boy.